It is hour number 2. It'll be a jam-packed hour with your phone calls. Also, at the bottom of the hour, I'm going to play a few videos put out in the last year by a group whose research I've checked, it's absolutely accurate, about what a reduction in population means. Total collapse of society. So those video/audio breakdowns are coming up at the bottom of the hour. Then we'll continue with your calls. We're also going to get into concerns are raised about genetically engineered mosquitoes they're going to release on us, and a bunch of financial news dealing with the global markets and the dollar. Just a ton of stuff coming up. And we got Fritz Springmeier for his first radio interview that I know he's done since he got out of prison being set up. That's coming up. Right now, let's go ahead and go to Blue in Tennessee. You're on the air, Blue.
Thank you, Alex. It's an honor to speak to you.
Honor to talk to you.
Well, I'm looking for solutions, and this is what I personally do on a daily basis. I use my cell phone, and I put it on speakerphone, and I have GCN programming as well as RBN programming as I'm standing in checkout lanes as I am at a gas pump pumping gas. And one of the ways that I get people engaged, if they don't overhear and pay attention, I'll just simply look over and ask them, do you know what your government has done to you today? And it's just a matter of picking a topic that they're interested in.
Well, a lot of people will play my radio show in their business. They will play this radio show or my films in their restaurant. They'll have free copies at the family gas station, or they'll make copies and sell them for $1. I don't care. Just get it out to people at their store or their church. People will also put up little FM transmitters that cover just their neighborhood, and then put up signs around the neighborhood, and then stream my show off of their computer. And it really has a huge effect. But yes, I will, when my show's being rebroadcast locally sometimes, I'll sit there while I'm getting gas and not turn it up super loud, but turn it up where folks can hear it. And then I'll tell them, hey, find out what's going on. Find out some key information. Tune to this radio station. Absolutely. It's having a huge effect.
I will agree. I've had many people stop and ask me what I was listening to, and I said, it's the actual news. It's the true news. Do you have business cards that are printed up with your information on it?
No, but I have been meaning to get back there with Tim and offer basically a program of my bumper stickers at cost. I mean, literally at cost, so people can get them. There's a small profit now, so folks can support us, but I want to really get them out in bulk. And also, we should come up with a program where people just buy the business cards from us at cost, so that people can, you know, just not even do it themselves. A lot of folks have already done it themselves, but just activist packs. We already have activist packs with bumper stickers, citizen rule books, Infowars.com ballpoint pens, with just a slight profit on them. But I'm thinking, because the time is so short, that I'm going to get back there and launch something, at least through Christmas, where it's at cost. In fact, I'm glad you called in about this, because this needs to be done right now.
I would very much like to have the business cards pass out just to get their initial interest. What I've been doing is I've been writing it up on a piece of paper, people that have Obama stickers as they're getting in their vehicles, and I'll just look at them and say, you know what? I feel the need to give this to you, and it has your information on it as well as Ron Paul's information and where to go, and to make a true choice rather than a dictated choice to you.
Well, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Keep it up. More calls straight ahead and the news. We're going to get to everybody here on the other side of this quick break. We also are going to have a 24-hour plus live transmission coming up this Thursday, kicking off at 11 a.m. We'll tell you more about that today as well. Stay with us. Coming up in the hour, your phone calls. I also want to air a couple different short video/audio pieces, and I've looked at their numbers. They're absolutely on target, about the fact that we would need to have 2.1 children apiece to be able to just not have our society totally collapse. But all over CNN, all over MSNBC, all over PBS for the last week, everywhere, there's too many people. 7 billion. It's going to double by 2050. When the UN's own numbers are, the population's going to plane out and stop growing at around 8.5 billion in 2024. And I've got all the numbers. I'm going to, throughout the week, do special reports on this here on the radio, but also on the nightly news, 7 o'clock Central. You'll find it at prisonplanet.tv or InfoWarsNews.com. But coming up at the bottom of the hour after we take some calls, overpopulation, the making of a myth, and 2.1 kids, stable population. And you can look these numbers up for yourself. We're going to be breaking this down. And then ask, why does the system want to reduce population? Sure. Some areas of the world where people average 6, 7 kids and are totally poor, you could argue it's unsustainable. These are people that come from agrarian societies. They've been forced under UN programs off their land for Big Agra to take it over at gunpoint. In Honduras, in Uganda, just in the last month, it's been in mainstream news that UN World Bank-sponsored groups actually machine gun people that won't leave their own rural areas so they can take their land over. That's why you've got people living an agrarian lifestyle in megacities. I'm not saying there aren't some problems in squalor, but you don't keep them in squalor and then tell all the yuppies here in America and Europe don't have kids, and they don't. And Germany's got a 1.3% replacement rate. For every mommy and daddy, there's 1.3 children. And then you add in accidents, as they do in these actuaries, and disease and things, you're looking at 1%. One person in the West, this includes Japan, one person is born for every 2 parents now. That's called the death of the West, as Pat Buchanan called it. It is the total implosion, the end of society. That's why they've got to bring in foreigners now to just prop up the Ponzi scheme of Social Security worldwide. But they've stolen all that money, so it doesn't matter. And then the illegals all get on welfare. Did you know 60%, even the LA Times admits this, of the people on welfare in California are illegals? Oh, by the way, they have jobs, too. They are hardworking on average. But then the system gives them 2, 3, 4 different welfare checks under different names. And, of course, California is going bankrupt. Over 70% of the people on welfare in Arizona are illegals. It's over 40% in Texas. We're collapsing, and there's 6.5+ billion people that want to come here. What, 6.7 billion that want to come here, and it probably wouldn't be such a problem if we had another couple 100 million come to this country, but not if they get on welfare. You get tens of millions of people pouring in a decade, and they want welfare? And Rick Perry says you don't have a big heart if you don't give the illegals in-state tuition? Ladies and gentlemen, when my mother went to the University of Texas, I think it was something like $500 a year or something. Now the University of Texas is something like $20,000 a year. In fact, guys, look it up. What's the University of Texas if you're not in-state tuition? It's supposedly a state school. I mean, they own most of the oil in the state. They're the biggest landowner here. They've got $100 billion in their permanent fund, billions in gold. But it's hundreds of thousands of dollars for a degree. And my tax money goes to it all day long. And illegal aliens can sail in here, and somebody from New York or California that comes here can't get it. Again, it's an incentive by the globalists to have taxpayers pay to bring in third world labor to displace American jobs. And all these stupid socialists who want to redistribute wealth that are at Occupy Wall Street. I'm not saying all of them there are bad, but I'm saying the socialists that are calling for it. You don't have a job because of globalism. Is that in a year? It's worse than I thought. That's from the University of Texas. In-state is $24,714 a year. Out of state is $47,426. So that's cost of attendance, tuition, and fees. Holy mackerel. Holy mackerel is the only word I've got. Wow, it's worse than I thought. So there's your inflation. By the way, I'm not saying education's bad. In the 1960s, if you paid $500 or so, what was it, in-state, $1,000 out-of-state, yeah, that was pretty much worth it, even though in inflation numbers it was more like, you know, $6,000 to $7,000 a year. I've seen the inflation numbers. Education's great, but not when it costs you hundreds of thousands of dollars with interest on top. And then you're a debt slave to it, and they've outsourced your jobs, so there's now no jobs for you that can pay back what you've put in on that. All right, now I'm ranting. I said I'd go to your calls. By the way, I never plug this, and I really should. It's bad that I don't, and I'm going to apologize right now for this. No one's complained at me. It's just I was looking at the numbers that we now have, and this is XM Sirius, you know, on their bigger shows can have 5-6 million listeners. I guess there's like more than 30 million total. But I've seen some of the numbers that there's upwards of 200,000 people tuning in during the 3 hours of the show on XM. And then if I plugged it, this is a way for people, no matter where you live or what you do, God forbid you buy XM and hook it up to a pirate FM. I'm just joking. No matter where you are, they pick up this, because, you know, used to I did 4 hours. So what they're doing is they were picking up the last 3. So really what they're picking up is the second and third live, and they re-air the first hour and the fourth. 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. And it's satellite channel 166. And I think I've been on there a couple of years now. For a while, they had me on at night. And then for a year or so, they've had me on during the day. And I've mentioned it some. But it's almost like I can't believe that I know we're competitive and get good ratings. And much of what we've talked about has now come true. So our credibility has risen. But to be on one of their main channels, 166, everybody should subscribe to XM Sirius. I know I'm on both, but this is Sirius XM. So I think we're on something else on, it's the same company, on XM. It gets confusing. But the point is, I've been on 166 for a long time. Before that, it was 150-something. And that's one of the little extra packages you can buy, but most people have this. I know I have it. It's weird to sometimes not do the show and then hear my guest host and be able to hear it in my car. By the way, I love XM and Sirius. You know why I love it? Because I can listen to TV, all the channels, BBC, everything. I can just flip to the channels and I can listen to C-SPAN, POTUS. It's unrivaled. So all of my listeners should subscribe to Sirius XM, channel 166, America's Talk. They've had me on now for years, so I think it's safe to subscribe now. And that's something I'm going to try to advertise on the website. I'm going to get some banners up and start linking to their subscription site. Because you can also get little portable units. We have them in the house. Take them around with us. Go in the backyard. Or I'm in the garden with the kids. Boom. Can listen to whatever I want. Listen to children's shows. They've got books on tape. Yes, I'm plugging the daylights out of it. Because they've had me on a couple years. And I was kind of blinking at first. I didn't believe my eyes or my ears. But a couple years into it, I'm going to start plugging channel 166, and that's 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock Eastern. Okay? So there you go. My lawyer was at my parents' party this weekend, and he was talking about listening. By the way, I forgot, my lawyer, Eric Taub, is the guy that beat the city of Austin a whole bunch now when they said that people on Congress could build a deck on their restaurant. And it's even, you know, Mainline, retired Austin cop owns it. Nice restaurant. His son's a firefighter, works with him, you know, quit to work there. They got the permit to build the deck. And the city of Austin came in and said, we're revoking it. We don't care after you built a $100,000 giant deck, and harassed him. And Eric sued him and won. And he's suing them on a bunch of other things and winning. And he was talking about city people now are basically kind of threatening him, like, I know you're a troublemaker. When he's out in public and stuff, they come over to him. So I'm going to try to twist my lawyer's arm to bring the owner of this restaurant in, Trudy's, to bring them in here and get them in studio just to talk about government harassment. By the way, now, if you've got a small tree on your property, they won't let you even build a high-rise building now. But Eric was saying that but if you're an insider or give them political contributions or hire their wife or whatever to work at your company, suddenly you're allowed to build. Total scumbag mafia. And the reason I'm saying that live on air, listen, not only is it time for me to get Dave Mustaine on, who wants to come on, not only is it time to get Mike Judge on, who wants to come on, by the way, now talk to him, not only is it time for me to get Ventura, who wants to come back on, not only is it time for me to get, I want to get my lawyer on, and George Norrie is on Thursday during the 24-hour marathon, so is David Icke. There's a bunch of other famous people I'm not even going to mention who it's not that I'm too lazy. In a way, I am too lazy.